This week's episode is sponsored by Organic Sunscreen Moisturizer, Sheer Perfection Moisturizer that can only be found on perfectiondayspa.com. Contact Delia today. This week's episode is sponsored by Impressive Jewels by Elisa Carter. Elisa Carter has been my consultant since inception of the Ride Along with Vanessa morning show. So go to ImpressiveJewels.net today. Get your little something. You deserve it. This week's episode is sponsored by Dollhouse of Tampa Salon and Studio, where the inner doll is created. Styling services they offer are sew-ins, quick weaves, relaxers, facial waxing, eyelash extensions, and much, much more. It's time for you to find your inner doll. Contact Selena today, serving the Tampa Bay and surrounding areas of Florida. And make sure you follow them on Instagram and Facebook. Are you tired of being stung by outrageous nail prices? Well, you don't have to worry about that at Queen Bee Nail Hive. Contact Queen Bee herself, servicing the Tampa Bay area. 813-414-1405. That's 813-414-1405. Queen Bee Nail Hive. Come be pollinated. Start your 2021. Go to www.vanessaklinger.com. Click the free book giveaway button. Complete your details, and I will ship a free book to you. Stay in love.
This is thy kingdom come. Let the spirit of the Holy One pass over. Let your peace cover the earth. Lord, let your will be done. This is the time to take a stand, to let the world know that you can. Tomorrow, but today is the day that you say, I will reign.
Hello, everyone. How are you? I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator.
And I'm Michelle, and I am your motivator. Namaste. Namaste. Divine presence in you.
Namaste, everyone.
Sunday.
Yes. Welcome to Spiritually Speaking, everyone. Yes. We hope you guys had a great week. We're still here in the land of the living. And that's a good thing. Yep.
Yes.
With all this madness going on, we still here.
Still here. Present.
You know those days when you show up at school, you be like, well, I gotta go.
Right.
I'd rather be, where I really want to be, but I'm here,
Yeah.
And, because, when you get turned on, what's promised, you be like, that new heaven and new earth. I mean,
It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's like we're so close. Yep. So, how was your week, co-host? You had your birthday last week, right?
Yeah, birthday week. Me and my kids went out after the show, and it was a challenging week up until that point. But I recognize that when you're moving into grace and new beginnings, you're going to be challenged right before. But I'm used to the challenge, and I'm up for the challenge. If I'm not being challenged, then I'm like, what's going on? Something's not right. But it's muscle building challenge. It's heart building challenges because we're moving from the head mind first to the heart mind first. And this week God revealed to me that the head mind contains fear, but the heart mind contains faith. And so that's why the transition, we got turned around someplace. Now we're reversing it and going back to the heart where God speaks and where faith is. And we're eliminating and annihilating. My favorite word is annihilate. We're annihilating fear. That means it's going down. Fear is going down and faith is coming up. So I'm excited about what we're about to face. No matter what it is, I'm equipped and ready. I'm loaded and ready.
Yeah, and the exciting thing about it is that, because for such a time as this, we are young enough and alert enough because we have, been growing up, kind of like we're the Joshua generation where we were told about the promise, we experienced going through the wilderness and that type of mentality and way of thinking. And we had to, we allowed the wilderness experience to transform our way of thinking, to prepare us to cross over and take possession, and with everything going on, I mean, it kind of, I don't know why I go back and forth between that and the days of Revelation, but it's just kind of like, I guess it's for some people who need to finally, but I'm excited about how the way it happens. I'm excited about, going in and taking possession, houses that I didn't build and lands and all this. That's all great and good and everything, but the spiritual development and involvement of my soul and how my heart and my mind are in harmony, and that's much more exciting to me than any of this material stuff, right? Because of the new heaven and the new earth that was coming down. That's to actually be a part of this part of the story is very exciting. It's very exciting.
Of course it is, but it's only exciting for those who are awake, alert, mindful, focused, and paying attention. If you're not paying attention, it can mean devastation for you. It can mean trouble. It can mean pain. But if you're paying attention, if you're awake, then you're able to experience the energy. Even though it's a crossfire, it's an energy. It's an energy in there that you can can catch the fire. So it's an awesome time and a place and a space to be. But you have to wake up, though. You have to be awake.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're gonna be shaken up. You're gonna be shaken up, because if Revelation is what it is, I mean, the majority is what you call it, a book of psychology or something, but majority of it is because of the fact. This is what I believe, because of the fact that it we listened to it. And we were just conditioned, and we, and it tapped into our imagination and our energy. We created these scenarios, So for some, they are going to experience these scenarios. That's why I'm really adamant about everybody. Look, don't be focused on that. Focus on the new heaven and the new earth, because take that energy and use it so that when we're up out of here, that's where we're going. I mean, I really believe that. I don't know. I just believe that, and I feel it, and it's just, with everything going on, it's just very exciting. But tonight, we are going to be talking about Noah. So, did you want to do a little recap, like a 5-minute recap on what we talked about last week, kind of lead the viewers into, then we'll run an ad, and then we'll get right into where you want to pick up tonight, because I think we talked about after the rain stopped, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. It was the end of the 40 days, and the rain had stopped, and Noah's concern, if we're looking at it literally, was when could him and his family and all the animals come out of the ark, because the rain had stopped. But just because the rain had stopped, the water was still present. It was still a lot of water. So it was a flood. So that means they were not going to be able to step out on dry land with all the water. So he sent out a raven first, and then he sent out a dove. And then, so we're equating all of this. What we're saying is the Bible is a collection of psychological thoughts based on the level of consciousness of the person that wrote it. And so as we begin to motivate, we are in that present state where we're moving from January the 1st to February the 9th, which is 40 days, where we've been having constant rain, not just physical rain, but we've also been having rain of situations, pain, things coming against us. And so in that 40 days, you have the opportunity to prepare yourself for what's next. Although we're in the now, we're prepared for what's next, because God goes into the next and prepares us for the now. So as we begin to move to the place of ending up Noah's story, we are tonight going to be moving into what happens after the flood? What happens after the rain is dried up? What happens when you come out of that protected place that you've been in for 40 days and 40 nights? What are you going to experience in the new now? What are you going to experience in the new normal when it's not like it was before the rain? So that's kind of where we're going. We're going to wrap Noah up in a nice little bow. And I don't know what we're going to move on to next after Noah, but tonight we're going to kind of wrap it up, because you need to know and you need to locate where you are right now. You need to be able to be aware, conscious, mindful, focused, and paying attention to what your status is right now. Doesn't mean you're not going to have issues. Doesn't mean you're not going to face situation. It just means that you're prepared for anything at this point. So when you're prepared for anything, it doesn't matter what comes. It just determined that we've moved from believing to knowing, and now we're about to move into knowing how. So believing, knowing, and now we're going to know how to know. So that's where we are.
All right. Well, I'm only going to run a 15-second promo, so we can have all the time to, because I'm chomping at the bit. I'm sitting at the edge of my seat, excited about what you have to share with us. The great Michelle Massey-Washington, everyone. We'll be back in about 15 seconds. Go, hurry up, grab you something, pull out your Bible apps. We're going into Genesis 7 and 8, I believe, right, love?
9. Genesis 9. 9 and 10.
Genesis 9 and 10. So grab your, pull up your Bible apps, grab you something refreshing to drink, and we'll be right back. So stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Vanessa Klinger here, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator. Would you like to be a guest on our talk show, Spiritually Speaking, with my co-host, Michelle Massey-Washington? Well, go out to the website, www.vanessaklinger.com, complete the form, and your sponsorship includes a guest spot. We look forward to meeting you and highlighting your product, service, or event. Stay in love. That's right. That's right. So if you'd like to be a guest on Spiritually Speaking with the great Michelle Massey-Washington and myself, go out to vanessaklinger.com, complete the form, and I'll reach out to you, and we'll see how we can bring you on to promote your product, service, or event, and give you the visibility that you deserve. But tonight, we're talking about Noah. So what done happened after the rain done stopped?
The rain has stopped. He sent out the dove, and for the last time, and the dove did not come back. So the dove came back, but he came back with an olive branch, which means that he was able to, that the water has gone, everything is uncovered. Because if he got a piece of a tree, that means all the water had uncovered the earth. An olive branch, and that's where we get people saying, I'm providing an olive branch for, it's supposed to be a sign of a peaceful coming to you, coming back to you with unforgiveness, and, you know, just coming to you on a peaceful realm. So what the dove signified is the Holy Spirit bringing peace back to Noah as he begins to embark on this new heaven and this new earth, which is what God has given us. He's given us the peace. He's taken us to the fifth dimension of the unconditional love and the freedom. He has taken us from head first to heart first, and then lining your head up. I mentioned earlier that your head carries the fear, your heart carries the faith. So in the third dimension, we were governed by fear. And so,
absolutely. Say that again, co-host.
In the third dimension, we were governed by fear. Governmental. The government was governing your mental in fear. And so in the Great Conjunction, it was a reminder that the star is still shining on us. It was a reminder of our new birth. It was a reminder of our King. It was a reminder of our royalty and our riches. And it was a reminder that everything that our vision revealed to us in 2020, 21 is now playing out that vision. It is no longer a dream. Said old men would dream dreams. We're not that same old person, so we're not dreaming dreams. We are now seeing visions, and we are making the visions come to pass. And so we are creators. We are co-creators with God. And so as most people, when you're in a new unknown place, which Noah was in an unknown place, because before there were multiple people. There was a whole lot going on. Now all he's starting out with his seed, his family, and all the animals. So the rain had stopped. The dove had came back to offer peace to Noah. So he began to get the next instructions from God, and which is going to be key. As we move forward, we must have the next instructions that God has for us. We cannot move on this first. We have to move on our heart as he's speaking to our heart. He looks at the heart. He's living in the heart. So that should be our first place to go. Once you get your instructions from your heart, then you can line it up with your head and begin to manifest what God has for you. So in chapter 9, it says God blessed Noah. So that's very important. For the first thing in this new heaven and new earth that we're operating in is that you get the blessings from the Father. And the blessings mean empowerment to prosper. So a lot of times we say, oh, I'm blessed. How you doing? I'm blessed. But we're just saying that and not knowing that we're saying I'm empowered to prosper. So if this is going to be the year of royalty and riches, then we must have the blessings of the Father. So it says, and God blessed Noah. He not only blessed Noah, he blessed his seed. He blessed the sons and said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth, which is the same thing that he said to Adam. Same words. So we're looking at another transformation of the world where God is saying to them, be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. Now, we would look at that on a physical realm because people will need to be replenished. But we also need to know on a spiritual realm, this is an opportunity for us to start new. This is an opportunity for the slate to be wiped clean. Doesn't matter what you've been through, all of that back stuff. We're now forgetting that old man because that old man is just a dream now. That old man is just a dream. And we have awakened from the dream so that we can see now what God is saying. Go ahead.
Okay, while you were talking about that, I was envisioning that process, because that was, I think you said 40 days was, what was the word? It was preparation, something else, and something else. Yeah. But that time, that experience that God takes you through, I'm looking at it mentally and spiritually, that what he does is he brings in a flood. And see, they say when the enemy comes in like a flood, the Lord raised up a standard. And what I saw was, okay, because the enemy, the lower vibration, the darkness, came in like a flood with all the things, the sins and misses that you had in your experiences and all the bad things that you consider were bad mistakes and all this stuff. So comes in like a flood, but then also God comes in with like a flood to clear all that away through his grace. Yeah. And it wipes the slate clean. I'm reminded of, how, when you're born again, it just, you're born new. He wipes it all clean. This is all about your mentality, ladies and gentlemen. You have to clear this up. You have to allow whatever experiences that you will have to experience to go through that. Now, and I can only speak for myself. So mine required daily meditation and affirmations and just really just reprogramming my way of thinking, overriding that script that was running in my mind, in my soul, my mind, my will, and my emotions. So once that was clean and I went through that flood experience and God wiped out all the people I knew, friends, and all those people I hung out, it was all gone. And when it was clean and it was clear, and I actually got what you were talking, what this scripture means. Once you clean this up, then you are operating on a clean slate. Then you can begin rebuilding with your affirmations, your visualizations. Be fruitful and increase in number. To me, that means be fruitful by you keep sowing seeds of your thoughts and your words and your feelings and you start creating here and increase in number. So you increase what you are imagining and affirming about yourself. You know, the Bible scriptures are great, but affirmations, you know, it has to be something personal. Like, you know, that's great. Bible scriptures are great. But my favorite affirmation is I am so happy and grateful now that I am, or now that I have, right? Because I am, you said anything after I am, that's you're
You write
creating.
a check. Yes, you are.
So, but here's the thing. You can't put new wine in old wineskin. It has to be new. So that's why that flood had to come in, because God said, look, this is a mess. Let me clean this up. I found one good seed, Noah and his family. So let me spare them so that I can replenish the earth with them. See, so that was an example of that. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if 2020, you went through a clearing away, everything was wiped out, you probably lost everything, whatever you experienced, that was your flood experience, for God to clean the slate and remove everything that no longer served you out of your life, so that now you can begin creating and imagining that life you want and everything you want to do, be, and have. You can start imagining that now. Be fruitful and increasing a number with the number of imaginings, and you start designing that life you really want to have, or who you want to be, or what life you want to experience now. Do that now, because we are, do you say 2021 was where the vision is manifested?
Royal
Yeah.
and riches.
And so, you know, 2020 was the vision. So now we're manifesting. So you were saying also a couple weeks ago, I think, that it's not going to take as long to manifest, because we're in 5D.
Right. so the
video calls. That's a whole other video.
The time is being alleviated. A lot of times we're saying, this year sure went by fast, or time sure does fly. And that's because time is being alleviated, because eternity swallows up time. And so things are happening immediately, suddenly, right now, in the present moment. But you've got to be in that space, in that place. Again, I say be mindful, pay attention, and focus. Those are your 3 homework tools. And the way that you do that, we talked about 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day are going through your mind. Most of those thoughts are thoughts you had yesterday, which keeps you in the past, which keeps you in the old man. And so we need to be mindful that today we're thinking something different than we thought yesterday. We need to pay attention to what it is we're thinking, and we need to focus on that. So when you see talking about imagination, it's placing an image. And believe it or not, the image can be manifested. So I had kind of a dream last night, or out of body experience, where God took me God took me to a place of, I can't hardly explain it. He took me to a place where the very things that I had put or desired or will to have, he showed me bringing those things before they happened. It was I hadn't got it all together, but I saw the picture of the things, but they were like present, but they weren't present. So he was showing me, calling those things that are not. He was saying, go into your heart, begin to call those things, and then begin to remember when we used to remember things by heart, phone numbers and everything. We stopped doing that because of the telephone, because the computer began to do things for us, and we became lazy, and we stopped using the tools that we have, and we start using artificial intelligence. And so it has taken over our minds. They have tried to duplicate our minds with the computer, with the smartphone. Why do you think they call it the smartphone? All of those things that we had before that. Some of you are not old enough, but we didn't always have a cell phone. We had to stop at a payphone because the computer began. We had to stop at a payphone. And so now we've gotten really spoiled. We used to go and do our work at the library. We would go and look in a encyclopedia. We'd look in dictionaries. We would find books for references. Now we're all about the computer. So I said all that to say this is that God is taking us back to our own brain, to our own mind, to our own place of where he resides, because he doesn't reside in the computer. He doesn't reside in the phone. He resides in us. And so he chose Noah. He chose Noah because Noah wanted to know more about him than he did about the things that are outside of him. And so he told Noah, he said, God blessed Noah and his son and said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. And so as he began to open that door, listen to this, as he began to open that door, he opened himself up to the unknown. So as he opened himself up to the unknown, God began to show him new things. God began to say to him, he goes on to 11, he said, I'm going to make a covenant with you that I'm not going to take you through this again. I'm not going to destroy the earth like this again. And so you were talking, Vanessa, about the fires. He said, I'm not going to destroy the earth anymore with water, but next time it will be fire. So you were talking about the fires in California. And that brought me to that point that, wow, it's all lining up, because the fires were just consecutive. They were extensive. They are hard to put out. They were not being extinguished. And so that was another wake-up call for the people.
Right.
About how
about
outrageous have become. Yeah.
About their indiscretion and what's going on out there in California and what's been going on out there for the last 45, 50 years, however long it's been out there. But we know how long it's been out there
right.
that I can remember. So, and if we really, you don't have to, and people saying, oh, God's punishing them. Well, no, God, I don't believe that God is a punisher.
No.
But I believe that because of our actions, it has to be fulfilled because of what his word says. He's not a punisher, but
he establishes principles.
Exactly.
Principles, yeah.
Exactly. You reap what you sow, man.
Right.
So,
right,
I mean,
right.
Yeah.
And
so,
instead of us like taking responsibility for our actions, then we would say God is punishing. But you're only reaping what you've sown. And so he is a God of principle, not punishment.
Yes. Say that again, co-host.
He's a God of principle and not punishment. So until you're awake to know that, you can even see your parents, even though you said that your parents punished you, they were actually setting principles for you.
Yeah, like when Mama spanked my legs because I stole that bubble gum. Yeah, she said she established a principle because she was adamant. She said, "Look, ain't none of my children going to prison."
Yeah, she established that principle, and so along with that came that switch on those legs. So,
hey, Mom.
So as Noah experienced God's presence, he also experienced a whole lot of things. It's just like the same thing, the quarantine we was in. It's the same thing, except he was in there with animals. I don't know if some of y'all consider your family members animals, but
I bet you know everybody that was with everybody during this quarantine, because the divorce rate went up, I think, 35-40%.
Yeah, quarantine will either.
I need to get away from this animal.
So quarantine will either drive you or draw you, and so I'm grateful. Even my kids said, Mom, my friends, they're so mad and upset with their parents and they're fussing we never had that. So because we had been in quarantine for 3 years in a hotel room all together, so we were already prepared for being in a place all together. So when this happened, it was like, this is what we are used to. We're used to being closed up together. We're used to being in close proximity. But most people were arguing. So this took us to a place I don't know what happened in the ark with Noah. I don't know if they got into arguments. I don't know what happened that it
Well,
doesn't
you can just
explain that.
imagine. I mean, think about it. However big it was, right? He had one layer for his family. The bottom layer was for the animals. What was the other middle layer? I think it was. I don't know what that was for. Probably food and stuff and all that. But you can just imagine
Yeah.
who gonna go clean up the animals now? You did it. No, it was my turn. I did it. Can you imagine? And no, poor Noah. First of all, he was exhausted. Because he done
Yeah.
built that doggone Noah. Everybody laughing at him. He was
Right.
exhausted. And then he
Right.
had to go find 2 by 2 and 3, but all that, and bring all these animals in there. Then he had to get everything organized. Then he had to bring stuff. And then you got those women. I mean, living with the
Yes.
women and stuff. And then they talking
Mm-hmm.
about, well, I don't want to. Why can't we have this? No, we got to stretch everything out because we don't know how long we're going to be on this boat. But I want the apples today. No, you don't. No, and then you got to deal with all this kind of stuff, right? I can just imagine.
Yeah.
I get this
Yeah.
from my dad. So he 40 days. I mean, can you just imagine if it had been, that's like a month. So we were in quarantine. Fortunately for me, praise God, thank you, hallelujah. It wasn't nobody but me and Hot Dog, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have was used. The last 6 months I was already in quarantine with myself. I had my family and all that. But fortunately for me, I was in quarantine all alone. I was like, this is Shangri-La. I'm happy. I mean, that's why I was happy every day. Everybody was like, what's going on, Vanessa? I'm celebrating. I'm posting live videos. I'm celebrating. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting ready to get loose. I'm coming out, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm going live and everything. And I'm just filled with joy because I was just like, this is great. I got food. And then they found out you can have food shipped to your house and everything. I'm like, man, I don't have to go anywhere. Amazon, I'm like, everything come to my house. And I'm like, great. Then I had the hairdresser come to my house. I'm like, this is fantastic, But
Right.
for some people,
Yeah.
it was very challenging. They lost their jobs. Some of them lost their homes and everything. But I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, because I've experienced it.
Me too.
Wherever you are,
Yes.
God's grace
Yes.
is there. You just gotta be open and see it. I've witnessed it, girl. I've seen it. I've seen, homeless people, and I've been fortunate and blessed enough, but I've also been the person where if I see a homeless person, I feel compelled, and I either have the money to go get a blanket or something to be God to them. So I honestly believe that although some of you may have gone through hell and experiences and loss and everything during that quarantine, if you didn't allow yourself to be attached and you trusted God and believed in yourself that it was temporary,
right?
God shows up through us. He shows up to us, ladies and gentlemen. So if you find that you're in a desolate place, that everything's been wiped out and you're down to nothing, hold on, because God is going to show up through somebody, and you will see God through someone. Hold on. I don't know how to say that for somebody, co-host. Go ahead. I deviated a little bit like I usually do, but
that's fine.
We talking about Noah.
So he's now establishing a covenant with God. God said, my covenant with you will always be a sign of the rainbow. The rainbow is a signification of the chakras, because they have all the same colors. And he was just saying, I'm placing in you a reminder that I will always be there for you. So every time that you see or experience this energy that comes inside of you, it will be indication that I'm still with you, and I am just placing my covenant with you, and we are going forth in that. And so as he received the covenant, let's talk about
that next week. We're gonna talk about the covenants / rainbow / chakras, because it's going to tie into that, so that it'll just put Noah in a nice little bow with a nice little extra little gold string on it.
Right.
I want the viewers to understand how that all ties in together.
Yes.
so that they will honestly, once they finish watching that episode, they will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are never alone.
Yes. And so the colors of the rainbow he would see, um, it's saying that he will experience it in the sky, but I always like to say the sky is your mind. And so as he began to experience, God will always give you signs that he is present with you. He will give
Yes.
them through a small voice, he will give them through people, he will give them through situation. You can be walking through your
Mhm.
house and he will remind you, as he had to remind me this week, I am still with you even to the end. He had to remind me that no weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. He had to remind you, I shall supply all your need according to my riches and glory. All of those things, every time he had to remind you the moment that I sat on those stairs before I got in this house, how he said to me, how can you not afford this if I'm your God? So he had to remind me of those things. There are moments that you have with God that he will bring back to your
Woo,
remembrance.
woo.
That he will bring it back to you and he will remind you, if I got you out of this and I took you out of that and I brought you through this right here that you're facing right now is nothing. It is nothing that can kill you or steal your joy, but you must be mindful, focus, and pay attention. And so,
Yes.
yes. And so there are times when you are going to go through
You will.
some hard situations,
Yes.
but
Yes.
you know what he
You
told me?
made it.
He said, you're not here to learn. You're here to remember. He
Right.
says, there's nothing here that you need to learn because I've
Uh-uh.
already planted a seed inside of you,
Yep.
but you have to remember. And
You
the
got to remember.
government tried to make you forget that you forgot
Yes.
who you were. And
Yes.
so as you begin to remember, all you got to do is say, God, help me to remember what you told
That's
me
exactly.
before I was in my mother's womb, before I was in the matrix. So you had a meeting with me and you told me I was great and you told me I was equipped. And you told me no weapon formed against me shall be able to prosper. So I have to sit down and I have to remember everything that you told me because I am the word and I'm becoming flesh. I'm not the flesh becoming the word. I'm not the flesh becoming the spirit. I am the spirit. And God
Yes.
had to remind me of that. Yes, this week, this very week. Hmm.
Yes, girl.
And
And see, here's the thing. Here's the thing too. So while you were yet in your mother's womb, see, I
mm,
honestly believe he said, I knew you. That me,
mhm.
how I interpret that, I had a conversation. We talked about your life. We planned it from end
Intimacy.
to end. We
Yes.
planned it from end to end, and we went through every scenario that you would experience. And at the
Right. So
end
you
of that
have to
scenario,
remember. You have
yeah,
to remember that because
yeah,
I'm a strong knower that we chose the life. We chose
yes,
to be in our mother's womb. So we
yes,
had a meeting with God, and God said, let me show you trouble way off. Let me show you the things let me give you the promises. But because we're not doing this as a remembrance, we think we're learning something.
mm-mm.
Education is from the inside out. It's not the outside in. We already know it. How can you not know if the Savior who knows everything is inside of you? But because we've been brainwashed,
Yes, to forget. To
yes,
forget who we really
yes,
are and the
yes,
covenant. Now that
yes,
covenant, see, that covenant says to me that that's a contract. There's
yes,
terms and conditions in every contract. And
yes,
a good contract means that there's a win-win for both parties. So guess what God did? When he wrote that contract with you, while you were yet in your mother's womb, and he had that conversation with you and he mapped out your life and every decision that you made, when it had every variable, but at the end of every decision and every variable that you would experience, you would come out winning. See, this
yes,
is where people miss it. This is where you miss it. You get caught up in the situations and circumstances and things are happening. But when you finally take your power back and say, wait a minute. I'm a part of this. Yep, I'm a part of this experience. God and I had a conversation. And at the end of it, I win. See, when people finally get the control of that and understand that, so what if they everything? I mean, I walked away from stuff 5, 6 times. Houses, cars, just jewelry, clothes, hair, everything, girl, shoes, everything. 4, 5, 6 cars. And you know what it taught me, Michelle? It taught me that none of that stuff defines who I really
Yes, because it's temporary. Everything that we're trying to achieve on the outside is temporary.
am. And I
It's
started to understand that was a part of my story. That was a part of my contract. Why? Because
yeah,
the end goal is not for you to have all this stuff. The end goal is for you to be more like Jesus, to be
right.
more like your creator.
And we've been placed here to serve, and I think we lost it when we think people are supposed to serve us. And so
Yes,
when you
yes.
lose that important part of the whole situation, you lose the divineness, the purposeness of why Jesus even came. Jesus came to serve. He didn't come to be king. He didn't come to for people to bow down to him. He came to serve. He came to serve
Mm-hmm,
the people. And so we've
mm-hmm.
lost that loving feeling to serve the people, and we've
Yep.
served ourselves so much. And the things that we're served is jealousy and contentment and
All those lower
pain and
vibrations.
hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the lower vibration, and love is the highest vibration. So the fifth dimension is restoring us back to that unconditional love. He said in Revelations, you're doing everything, but you forgot so you
Your
got
first
to
love.
go back to your heart instead of your head.
Mm-hmm.
And go back, and you have to dwell there. You have to be
Yep.
mindful,
Mm-hmm.
focus, and pay attention. Your
Mm-hmm.
heart will not lie to you. Your head will, but your heart will never lie to you.
Never.
And so that's why we know it never lies if you pay attention. This week I've been doing some head, some mind and heart cohesiveness, and I've
Yeah.
been finding that I'm visiting my heart. I'm more conscious of what my heart is doing and what my head is saying. Because my head
Mm-hmm.
was saying a lot of stuff this week, but my heart was telling me, no, that's not right. I had to consult my heart. And I'm sure that Noah had to do those things. He had to consult his heart because his head was saying, what is rain? What is an ark? I don't know
And can
anything
you
about these things. And he had to go
imagine?
into the unknown because the
Yeah.
unknown,
And then
I
experiencing
can't.
that, and then
I
finally
can't.
understanding what rain is, and can you? I mean, first of all, when the ark started to float like a boat, I'm sure they were
Right.
having a praise party up in there because they were like, we didn't know what this was, but I'm so glad, Daddy, that you listen to whatever that God you talking about, you be talking to every day that's talking to you. So glad you obeyed him and followed his explicit instructions because otherwise we would have been fish right now. So thank you, Daddy. And I'm sure they had a praise party. And some of you will experience the same thing if you trust him. Just trust him. It doesn't matter what it is you feel like you're drowning. Follow his instructions because you will be protected. And then when
Yes.
everything is going on around you and you see all the madness going on and you sitting there just in your ark of safety, you be like, thank you, Lord. You'll be calm. You'll be calm, cool, and collected. Because you'll be like, yep, yep. You see all the madness, and you can be a sense of support for other folks.
Right. And so then as we move on, the ark is now open.
It's open.
The,
You
the
open up the door.
everything is coming out that was in. Everything that is coming out that was in. People are now going to see that you were not closed in for no unfortunate reason.
Right?
So as he began, yeah, and I want the world to know. So
Imagine them coming out. They were like, woo, we the animals. They were probably, woo, can you imagine? That was a glorious day. I'm sure it was. So what happened after that, co-host? Like, I don't know.
so yeah, I know. After they came out, Noah planted a vineyard. So I can definitely understand Noah needing something to drink
Girl,
after
yeah.
all of that. And I'm not even a drinker, but it didn't say he planted vegetables or anything first. It said he planted a
Uh-uh.
vineyard.
Yeah, you see, now listen to that. Now see, now listen to that. Now, okay, so he didn't come from a place where it was just sin and debauchery and everything.
Mm-hmm.
sure he probably saw those people cutting up and acting a fool and everything, and he had to exist with all those people doing all that debauchery stuff.
Mm-hmm.
After spending 40 days, some of y'all spent a year spending 40 days with his family.
So yeah, Noah planted a vineyard, and most of us are going to see that on the fleshly side. That Noah needed a drink after all of that.
Well, you know what? He probably day 10 when he started hearing them women whine and complain and started smelling those stinky animals. He probably now see, think about this now, y'all. Think about that and say the first thing he did, he grew a vineyard. That means he done had time to think about and plan what he was gonna do once he got the hell out of that ark. You understand?
So you recognize that a vineyard takes time to grow. So this had to be a time span from the time he planted it to the time he grew it and to the time he began to drink the wine. So, it said the Bible says is that if he planted it one day and he was drinking the next day. So, yeah, I kind of understand what he meant at that point.
Okay.
But it says in 21, and Noah began to be a husbandman, and he planted a vineyard, and he drank of the wine and was drunken, and he was uncovered within his tent. So sometimes we have to recognize that a drunken state isn't necessarily defined as we define it as drunk.
Right.
There are sometimes that you're drunk in the spirit. There are sometimes that you are so overwhelmed with the joy of God, it looks as if you're drunk because of your mannerisms, how you carry yourself. So, it didn't necessarily have to be that.
We can look at it that way too. We looked at it literal because it was very funny. Because we can see how that can be possible. Because some of y'all, as soon as they let y'all out of the house, the first thing y'all did was went to the liquor store.
Yeah, to the bar.
That's the same thing. So spiritually, he probably thought about how he once, everything he went through and everything. And once he got out and he saw the promise of, I was like that last year. I know y'all thought I was drunk going on ride along. I was not drunk at 8 o'clock in the morning.
As you suppose.
I was drunk in joy. Okay. And I'm sure that he was the same way. And it says he planted a vineyard. He probably sat there and thought about all the wonderful things. And he sowed those seeds of thoughts and imaginings of what God and how he brought him through. And he probably went all the way back to the beginning. And that's why I said the next day he was drunken. See, so we know it's a process to plant some seeds, grapes, you got to harvest some process. But it don't take you no time to remember how the good God's been to you and how he got you out of that mess. You slip right into a praise dance in 30 seconds because he reminded. So he reminded of all of that and got drunk on joy. So we can look at it that way too. But the other part was funnier.
And then we have to look at too, once his son Ham had discovered him, he was naked. Yeah. And so his son could have just thought that was happening. Sometimes we're accused of things. It looks a certain way, but it's not actually that way. So again, I'm saying it's on the level of the consciousness of the writer and how he saw it or how she saw it or whoever wrote it. So
me personally, and I keep interrupting you because I'm seeing this, how he saw that he was naked. To me, the way I see that was him just being completely vulnerable.
Before God. Right. And so it goes back to how Adam was naked. And it goes back to how Adam was given the same instructions to be fruitful and multiply the earth. All of it was a confirmation of God restoring. And so now there were 3 sons. So let's look at that. There were 3 sons. Okay. Ham is the one that discovered the nakedness of his father and went back and told the other 2 brothers. So we're going to look at Ham as being Adam. Okay. And how Adam was exposed because God asked him, "Who told you you were naked?"
Mm-hmm.
And so we're equating that with Ham seeing that and
Mm-hmm.
indicating that it was shameful. In his
Mm-hmm.
actions, indicated that being naked was shameful, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
before God because it means you really don't have anything to hide from God. So instead
Right.
of him covering his dad, he went and told his brothers. So the other two brothers came in and they did not look at their father. They covered him up without looking at him. So this to me is a sign
Mm-hmm.
of how Jesus covered us up, regardless of what we've done, and we're not exposed to the world. There are some people that will try to expose you with shame, but Jesus came back and covered them up. And so we are in the presence with Jesus. The two sons came back and covered him up, and they covered him up. They backed into him and covered him up. So that
Right.
means they were not focusing on his outside. They were focusing on his inside. And they were focusing on, they knew all that Noah had been through. So this was not a time for him to be exposed for something. This was a time for this man to be covered up after all that he's gone through, after all that God has said. So it was like God coming and covering us up because God looks at the heart and other people look at the outside. So
Right.
again, it takes me back to the heart of God where we're not supposed to be exposing people. We're not supposed to be getting on social media talking about people's issues. We're supposed to be covering them and covering them
Mm-hmm.
in prayer, encouraging them. And so this whole ark thing, it's even though the people are being exposed, the people that are being exposed right now are people that have done something wrong or they have sown something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the exposure that I'm talking about. I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about an exposure of a man who found favor with God, who did everything
Mm-hmm.
that God told him to do. Because people will try to find something out about you that will expose you.
That's why
It
you need to
doesn't
be.
matter.
Go ahead. Go ahead, my love. That's why
They will
you need
try
to
to
be.
expose you
Yeah.
because you're doing something good. And that's
Well, and that's why you.
jealousy.
That's why
What happened?
adamant about that because people will see what they want to see. Now, see the way I saw Noah, because this has just come to me now. Because I actually thought I took it literal. I thought he planned the venue and got drunk because that's what we were taught. But now I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking at it differently. He was exposing himself because he was completely authentic.
Open to God. Yes.
And one person is going to see that and see that as and cause exposure. Oh, look at her! How dare she talk about she used to smoke crack?
Right.
Wrong with her.
Right.
Do you know she used to be this and used to be that, do all that? That's why I'm like, yeah, but you reminded Noah found favor with God.
Yes. Yes.
So that's why ladies and gentlemen, please, I'm not saying, I guess I'm just being 100, where you got to be evil, mean, wicked, and nasty. I'm talking about you just be you. Just be
Right.
you. Be you to the best of your ability, and each and every day strive to be more and more like Christ.
Yes.
That's all I ask y'all who be watching me and everything. I am not about, because people are going to try to do whatever, but guess what? When you have favor with the Lord, when you are
He'll
operating,
cover you. He will cover you.
and you in your true design, you operating as you. Because
Yes.
before the foundation of the world, he knew you in your mother's womb. That means you guys carved out who you was going to be, what type of personality you was going to have, your likes, your dislikes, your weaknesses, and everything. But guess what's covered all over that? Grace. So
And the
just be.
blood has covered us. The blood has covered us. And repent just means return back to your original state and don't miss the mark. So we're so consumed with sin, but that's been taken care of. Doesn't mean you have an open way to just do the wrong thing. It just means that there is an opportunity of covering for you. So whether
Right.
you accept the covering or not is up to you. But the one thing that I want you to know about Noah is that he found favor with the Lord. He was blessed by the Lord. He had a covenant with the Lord. And he did what God told him to do without sometimes not even knowing what God was talking about. Has God ever given you something and you're like, God, I don't even know what you're talking about. But as you go along, he reveals everything to you. Sometimes he can't reveal the whole picture to you because if he did, you might run the other way. But as if God had told me maybe some of these things I was going to go through, I don't know that I would have pressed forward. But since I'm here now, since I'm purposely here now, God explained to me yesterday. He said, you remember what I told you? And he said, remember that what I told you sounded like what you were saying to yourself? Remember what I told you. But the thing that I told you, didn't it sound like you were talking to yourself? Mm-hmm. And he was saying that is when two agree. He says, you're agreeing with me when you say God told me. And so when you get to the point that you're mindful, when you say God told me I can do this, that means you're coming together with him and you're confirming that covenant. You're signing off on it. A covenant needs two signatures. You're signing off on it. So your life has been signed off on and you're in a present state of being. And as you recognize that, and as you come to your authentic self, as you come to your highest version of yourself, as you recognize that you're on the highest frequency of love and you can't come down because God is not going to bring you down. When you recognize that, then your life is going to change. Not because you're going to have more things, because you're going to have more substance in your heart and you're going to line it up with your head. And once you line it up with your head, all these other things are going to be added unto you. So what we're looking at is the things first. And sometimes the things don't come first. And if they come first, they're things that you're going to lose. They don't last. And so you've got to find yourself from inside. Whew. As a man or mankind thinketh in his heart. And Noah had to think within his heart. And so he became greater than he thought he was before he had an encounter with God. And so now, whatever your encounter is, think it not strange that God will open up the ark and everything you thought you couldn't have is provided in the things.
Ain't that something, girl? So after the flood, he walked out. He was like, "It's all new."
Yes.
It's all
there was nothing normal about anything. And we still looking for normal. And it never was.
And it said, what did it say? He said he went out and he planted a vineyard. That means, what did he put seeds on the boat? You know, if we're gonna go live.
Yeah.
So or the fact that the ground had been restored back to its original state. Yeah. So now he could be manifesting within 24 hours.
Yes.
Dig that.
Immediately in the present.
So
time is taken out.
Right? Allow this flood experience in your life to clear up all that stuff that's stinking up heaven and restore it back to its original state of where it has favor with the Lord, your mental state, where you can start manifesting and seeing the results within 24 hours.
What the kids say, period.
Period. Yes. All right. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Co-host, I'm telling you the truth. I'm serious. This was the first time I saw Noah in that
different light.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I always saw it literal. That's why I was laughing so hard, because I was like, reminded of the preachers talking about it and stuff, and everybody laughing in church. I know getting drunk. But wait a minute now, because a whole 2020, I was drunk. 2020, I was completely drunk. Every time I came before everybody on Ride Along, I was drunk. I was filled with so much joy. As soon as March 31st hit, I was drunk because I was.
So maybe the rest of us should get drunk.
Hey, I'm telling you, the joy of the Lord is my strength. I've been winning ever since. I was a loser for so many years because I was not operating in that joy. But I'm telling you, once you cross over into that joy and you stay in that place of joy, I'm serious. Co-host, thank you so much for all you do. I just so appreciate you, just all the enlightenment that you bring to our viewers. You're such a joy and a blessing. Yes, girl. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, the great Michelle Massey-Washington, spiritually speaking. We just wrapped up Noah. Now, we're going to tie it up next week. We're going to tie it up in a nice little bow because we're going to bring you an extra little bonus gift because we're going to talk about the rainbow, what that all represents. Now, remember, this ain't your typical Bible study. We're operating in fifth dimension. Yeah. And we like John, come up higher because we're going to enlighten you into new levels of God's consciousness. Ooh, yes, so that you can operate and stay in victory constantly.
Yeah, that's where we belong.
Yep, constantly. All right, my love, I will see you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for catching the replay, social media. Thank you for your comments. Thank you. Guys, make sure you catch me Friday. If I'm still here. I'm going to keep saying that because I'm telling you, the rapture could take place any moment. I could be up out of here. We've been a new heaven and new earth. I'm serious. I am serious. I don't have a morbid mentality or anything. I just have a new heaven and new earth mentality. I know what's promised.
Stay on that frequency.
Yes. Girl, I'm right that way, baby. Yes. So Friday, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right along with Vanessa Morning Show. You guys tune in right here on the KP Media TV Network. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Podcast listeners, social media world, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, which we won't be having until after March. Periscope is gone, but that's okay. We got KP Media. So thank you guys so much. Co-host, thank you. My love.
Thank you. I send out the blessings for everyone that's listening, that this week will be a week of just all of that. All of that. It's so much more.
Yeah, it's going to be a week of everything. Right.
Everything.
The blessings of the Lord abound upon you. Yes. So thank you guys again. And until next week, let me find my little doohickey here. And I'll see you next week, co-host. Thank you, my love. Ya. Thank you, everyone. Stay in love, everybody. Hello, everyone. It is a new year, new season, new everything. So join me Friday on the Right Along with Vanessa Morning Show for another exciting topic and another word that's going to bring you the raw, real enlightenment and encouragement that you need for 2021. Join me, won't you? Stay in love. Thank you for enjoying the show. If you have an awesome product or service that you would like Vanessa to promote, go to www.vanessaklinger.com/show sponsor and we'll get back to you. We have monthly sponsorship programs, ad slots, all kinds of wonderful, great things to promote your product or service. Contact Vanessa today.